What's up, everybody? It's Chase here, and today we will be going over my Arcanist Gimmick tank. I've made even more updates to this build, so like always, let's go over basics first. This is my on-buff stats, so this is with no buffs. All attributes go into health. And now when I put my banner up, I got less recovery, but that's not a big deal because I still got quite a bit. But I got 43k resistance now with my banner up. And I'm gonna show you how to make that banner real quick. Let's go to my scribing altar. So you're gonna get the banner bearer. Oh, hang on a second. You know what? I changed my mind. Let's go over everything else first. So my food, I'm using the smoked bear haunch. But if you aren't exactly ESO rich, because this food can be a pain to get your hands on, I would say that you can use literally any food that gives you recovery for all three resources. You can probably guess what mythic item I'm running with all these buffs. I'm using the Serpent Mundus Stone. My race is a high elf, and I am an Arcanist class. My alliance is Ebon Pact, but that does not really matter. So, let's go over the skills. You don't need any abilities from the skill line, but you do need to max out these two passives. Because this is higher critical healing done. And this will give you extra weapon and spell damage. And if you think about it, the higher weapon and spell damage you have, the more healing you do. So this is actually beneficial for your self-healing. Now for my ultimate, I have Sanctum of the Abyssal Sea. Gibbering Shield Morph. For my taunt, I'm using Runic Sunder. Alright, this will create a Crooks. It reduces your damage taken by 2% per active Crooks, and you can have up to 3, which is 6%. And that stacks with your banner. Your banner gives you a 6% damage reduction. Sorry if you hear all that noise in the background. Somebody's screaming. I'll try my best to make this video for you. I want to make it easy on you. So I'm using Runic Sunder. Okay, this will taunt the target to attack you for 15 seconds, which isn't really useful in PvP, which is this build's intended purpose, but the reason why I have it is it applies minor maim. It reduces their armor and gives you armor. And then it reduces your damage taken by 2% per active Crooks, which will be up to a maximum of 6% because you can have a maximum of 3 Crooks. So for my Rune Spite Ward Morph, I'm not using the stronger shield. I'm using the Spite Ward of the Lucid Mind. There's a reason for that. This one says consumes Crooks to not only heal you like the other one, but also refund the cost. So you can spam this one. You need to get every passive for this skill line and this one, but for this you only need the top two. Alright, so you need to get Evolving Rune Mat. Don't worry about the other morph, because it gives you minor heroism. But here's the thing, I already have minor heroism at all times. It's a permanent effect, and we'll already talk about that in a little bit. So just get this one. This one's a stronger heal. And the idea of this build is that you're an ulti spammer. Remember that. The moment you charge up your ultimate, you need to cast it. You're built for spamming your ultimate. So every passive for Undaunted, every passive for Assault and Support need to be maxed out because this is a PvP build. So just like me, work on maxing out every passive for those skill lines. And then I got the banner. Make sure it is at least level 7 though. Okay, so it's gotta be at least level 5 to get the banner. Okay, but if you can't get Revealing Flare, there is a temporary skill that you can have slotted instead. You can be a werewolf. I'm not a werewolf, but you can be a werewolf and then get the roar ability. I forget what the unmorphed version is called, but it's the one that stuns the target and sets them off balance. And then you get the defending roar morph. It does the same thing, passively guarantees you major protection while slotted. But the reason why I have this and not that one is because as a werewolf, you're actually weak to Fighter's Guild abilities. As a vampire, you're weak to Fire and Fighter's Guild abilities. And because this is a PvP tank, you don't want to be vampire nor werewolf. So I am mortal on this. You don't even need to morph Revealing Flare or use it. You just need to keep it slotted on your bar, and that's an extra 10% mitigation. Like I said, I am a high elf, so I get extra sustain for my resources. I take less damage when using a channeled effect. I get extra max magicka and weapon and spell damage. And this actually helps out a lot for this build too, because alright, for the Highborn passive, you gain extra experience with a Destruction Staff skill line. But on this build, the only weapon I'm using is a Destruction Staff, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm a magic-based tank. So let's go over my sets. By the way, every glyph you see on this build is golden. I just want to point that out. So I'm using a hardening enchantment for a stronger damage shield on my life staff, and this is the Willow's Path set. This is crafted. Everything I have on this build is crafted except for my monster set and my ring. So let's go down to the jewelry. Willow's Path necklace with protective and health recovery. And then a Willow's Path ring with protective and a stamina recovery glyph. And then I'm using the Oaken Soul ring, protective with a magicka recovery glyph. So, two of the buffs this gives you are minor protection and major resolve. Well, with my banner and my Revealing Flare, I get major protection and minor resolve, so those will stack with it. And Oaken Soul doesn't give minor evasion, but this thing does. Alright, so for my armor set, I'm wearing Fortified Brass. Reinforced with a max health glyph, and again, every glyph I have on this build is golden. And this is again reinforced with a max health glyph for every armor. fortified brass for the body pieces. And then the helmet and shoulders are Lord Warden. Again, both reinforced with a health glyph and both in heavy. So let's go over the champion points now. You need to max out precision. Get this one and this. Because, well, here's the thing. You're using your burst heal is a heal over time skill. So this will buff that. With your evolving rune men, that is your burst heal. Your base heal is your shield, but your burst heal is your evolving rune mend. So this will buff your burst heal. And then you get focus mending, which increases your healing done with single target heals, which will buff your shield. Come over here and get blessed. And now get from the brink. Then if you heal yourself and you happen to be below 25% health, you will gain an 11,000 point damage shield, which is massive. Alright, so get both of these. Get Enduring Resolve. So you get reduced damage taken from damage over time attacks. Because you're not really a hot build, so you need reduced damage taken from dots. This is not important, but you need to get all of these. This is also important. I get it's a PvP tank, but this is still important because it says reduces your damage taken from non-player attacks by 5% per stage. It doesn't say what specifically, it just says non-player attacks. Like, it doesn't say dungeon, trial, or arena monsters like the Aegis and Slayer buffs do. It just says non-player attacks. So, this still applies to, let's say, for example, the Necromancer's pets, or the Sork's pets, or even the Warden's bear. Like, this will still apply. So, you gotta max these two out. And then max these out. Don't worry about this. So you need to get Balanced Vitality, Slippery, get Shield Master, you need to max out this, and then come over here and get Pain's Refuge. This one is very important. So how this works is basically the more debuffs people apply to you, the more tanky you become. So if they're applying Breach to you and they think that's going to make it easier to kill you, it's actually making you stronger, and your mitigation is increasing from that. So you're essentially, when you get debuffed, you're essentially ignoring the debuffs and turning it into mitigation. So this is basically what makes makes up all the mitigation from this build, almost. So max out all of these. Max out Nimble Protector in there, but that's all you need to do for that. Max out Hasty in that tree. I forgot you don't need this. Get this one instead, because you're a Cyrodiil build. But this, you legit do not need potions on this build. Your sustain is too strong. You don't need potions. Save your potions for your other characters. This build, you won't need them because you got so much recovery, you're built around it. So you need to max out Break Full, and then you get all of these. Rationer you do need, but do not get Liquid Efficiency. It's pointless because you're not even going to use potions on this build. I don't even know why I purchased it. Use this one instead. And then these two. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to make that banner like I promised. My food ran out. And never mind. Alright, so for the... You go over to Banner Bearer. Put Mitigation on it, which gives you 6% damage reduction while the banner is active. Class Mastery, which will create a Crooks. And I've actually did my research on that. It basically creates an infinite amount of Crooks for you because it generates one every 5 seconds. You don't need Heroism. Like I said, you already got that permanently. But you don't have Minor Resolve permanently, so you're putting a Resolve one on it. So what this does is it gives you Crooks over time, gives you extra resistance, and it gives you 6% damage mitigation. And if you ever run too low on resources, like let's say your banner's up, you got a little bit less recovery, but if you run a little bit too low on resources, all you gotta do, deactivate the banner, and then it'll only take you like anywhere from 2 to 6 seconds, and then your resources will be full again. And then you just pop banner again to get that mitigation back. As far as PvP goes, this one is my best tank. So I really hope it helped you as much as it did me. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be many tank builds in the future and possibly updated versions of the previous ones, just like I did a couple times. So if you're into tanking, just stay tuned. I'm going to be posting so much more builds and POVs to help people out. And thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. It's been Chase. Bye.